Yeah, I'll stop there.
Whenever you want.
Good I talk. Amandla. Viva ANC, viva. Viva African National Congress, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Long live the spirit of Nelson Mandela, long live. Long live the spirit of Umama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, long live. Amandla. Malibongwe. Malibongwe. Roar, young lions, roar. Roar, young lions, roar. Amandla. Abshe. Abshe. Ah, yeah. Dumela. Sanbonan. Molwin. Ndimadekwana. Ndimadekwana. Ay. Ani told. Comrades, ndiyavuya ukuba lapha. It's very nice to be here. It's very nice to be here. Akufani na kule yamini ika 2017. Ndiyavuya ukuba lapha namhlanje. Kusekhaya. Kusekhaya apa. There is a warm spirit. There is a wonderfully revolutionary feeling to be here. And Tia, I know what I'll say you are convener. You are now the chair. I want to extend my greetings to NEC members, the NEC deployees who've been deployed by the National Executive Committee to support the leadership of this province in all the work they do, as led by Comrade Aaron Motsoaledi. I extend my greetings to the leadership of our various leagues, the Veterans League, the Women's League, the Youth League, and I also extend my greetings to our alliance partners, the South African Communist Party and COSATU. And I extend my greetings to Abefundis who are here, Namakosi who are here, if any, and various leaders of other organizations that. Firstly, comrades, let me extend congratulations kuninonke as delegates to this conference. I was one of those who was watching on television. Benifuna ukuba lapha ezinkokheli ezizathi nowungezi ngoku. That one engafuni ukuthi nibe khona, but no, President uzawuzamva. Don't come now. So I was marooned in Johannesburg. Didn't jonge nonke, didn't bonile. With TV didn't bonile. Didn't record the pelele. Uguti law why send this conference the way as delegates you've been so disciplined. It was real revolutionary discipline, and you are to be congratulated. I congratulate you, comrades, because you showed commitment and resoluteness that ensured that this conference took place. Many did not think ukuthi izawuba khona le komfa. Many thought ukuthi it is going to descend into chaos. And even the front pages of some newspapers were saying, Eastern Cape Conference descends into chaos. I am glad you proved them wrong. Because this is the resolve and determination that we need to carry us forward into renewing and rebuilding our glorious movement. This is the year of conferences and various congresses for our movement broadly, the Congress movement. And this is the year we must use all that we have to demonstrate to all and sundry, to our people in the country, that indeed we are a revolutionary movement, we are disciplined, but more importantly, that we are here to unite and to strengthen our movement as a whole, not only the African National Congress, but the entire Congress movement, because all various components of the Congress movement need to be united, and they also need to be renewed. Now, the intensity of leadership contests at our conferences should not preclude us from moving forward as a united and strong organization. We should always remember that we seek leadership of our movement in order to better fulfill the ANC's mission of building a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous South Africa. I wish to congratulate the incoming leadership as led by Comrade Oscar Mabuyane as our chair, Comrade Mlungisi Mvoko as our deputy chair, Comrade Lulama Ngugai Tobi as our secretary, Comrade Helen Sauls August as our deputy secretary, and Comrade Zolile Williams as our treasurer. I congratulate you, 5 comrades, but I also, comrades, want to thank those comrades who contested them. I thank them in the manner in which they also carried themselves. That they have not succeeded does not mean that they have lost. That they were not finally elected does not mean that they are not leaders of the African National Congress. I want to say to them, Comrade Matigizela, Comrade Kompela, Comrade Ntutu, Comrade Kotiwe, Comrade Tikana Kotiwe, as well as Comrade Andile Lungisa, that you are leaders of the African National Congress. And we will always see you as leaders. Having not succeeded now does not mean that you will not be given leadership positions as you move on. And I want to thank you for the spirit that you displayed, which many of us saw on television, that as soon as the votes were declared, you did come forward and congratulated the comrades who have succeeded. Thank you very much for that. In the end, comrades, the branches have spoken. You, as the branches of our movement here in the Eastern Cape, you have spoken. You represented your will and your decisions as the branches of our movement. You came to this conference divided. But now that you have elected your leaders, the decision that you have taken means that you want the leaders and yourselves to be united. You want to renew the African National Congress. I forever remember after I was elected together with the top 6 at the Nazareth conference in 2017, one delegate came forward and said, as we were all singing, and he said to me, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, we've elected you. Your key task is to unite this movement. Your key task is to renew this movement. And he said, that is exactly what we are going to be watching you for, whether you are going to seek to unite this movement. I took it very seriously. I took it as a clear mandate, which was being communicated by this one delegate, having been decided upon by the delegates as a body. And I want to say to the 5 comrades who have been elected here, your mandate is to unite this organization here in the Eastern Cape, now that the branches have spoken. It is up to you to assume this mantle of leadership, as well as comradeship and cadership, and take forward our program of action as spelled out in our January 8th statement. So now you know what the branches expect of you. None of us need reminding that you are coming into your leadership position at a critical time for the province, for our movement, and for our country as a whole. Our foremost task as the African National Congress is to be the servants of our people. As you are elected now, you are now a real servant of the people, to serve. We are also here so that you, as well as the entire ANC here, should be at the forefront of improving the lives of our people and the recovery of our economy through reducing unemployment, eliminating poverty, hunger, and increasing investment and economic growth here in the Eastern Cape. All our efforts and endeavors, comrades, must be geared towards achieving these objectives of the National Democratic Revolution. This becomes especially important at a time when our country and the world is rebuilding after a most challenging period. As we all know, our country has never faced as challenging a period as it is facing now. One would have said, well, we had a pandemic in 1918, and it killed many more people than COVID-19 has killed. But on top of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had many other challenges that have been far beyond our own means or our own doing. COVID-19 has had an unimaginable impact on our lives and has caused immeasurable pain, suffering, and loss of life. And let us commemorate the more than 100,000 people who lost their lives in our country. We should also take this opportunity, as we should repeat it over and over again, to once again extend our gratitude, comrades, to the health workers in our hospitals, in our clinics, and to the frontline workers, to our police, to us, and to volunteers who served our people diligently and often at great cost during this pandemic. And let us give them a round of applause and thank them. Having said that, comrades, we must forever remain vigilant. The influenza of 1918 took 3 years. We are now into our third. Know when COVID-19 will come to an end. In fact, at the moment, we are seeing a resurgence. We're seeing a rise in infections in various parts of our country, and we are also seeing rises of infections in many other parts of the world, where a number of cities, mega cities of millions of people have had to be shut down, total shutdown with no movement outside whatsoever. Infection rates continue to climb, as we enter the winter season as well, which is something that should concern us. Vaccination remains our most effective weapon and mechanism to fight this horrendous disease. We would like everyone to be vaccinated, and when eligible, those who have been vaccinated should go for their booster shots. In addition, it is important that we encourage our friends, our families, to go forward and be vaccinated. Now, COVID-19, comrades, exacerbated an already ailing economy, leading to more than 2 million job losses just in a short period of time. Just in 1 year, we lost 2 million jobs. This has never happened in our economy in the way that it has. Even in the financial crisis that we went through, we lost a number of jobs, but this time round to lose 2 million jobs at one go has been quite a devastating impact. We saw the closure of businesses and the deepening poverty and deprivation. Whilst we are beginning to emerge from this period of suffering and economic decline, we must begin to intensify our efforts at economic recovery and reconstruction. And as we were trying to re-emerge, then July events last year happened on us, leading to the death of more than 350 people and also having a negative impact on our GDP. And now, as we were also trying to come to terms with all that, we suffered from the floods that have engulfed KwaZulu-Natal, the eastern part of the Eastern Cape, as well as the Northwest. So, comrades, we've had all these devastating events descending on us, on a fragile economy, on a population that has a high unemployment rate, and on a population that is so poor. But this is the task that is then given on the shoulders of the African National Congress. It is us who must find ways and means and answers to navigate our people around all these challenges. Here in the Eastern Cape, the birthplace and home of our legendary leaders, the leaders of our movement, this is where we must exercise leadership as well as the ANC. And we will only continue to lead if we increase our people's trust in our ability to serve them. Unemployment, poverty, and inequality remain our most pressing concerns. The most recent quarterly labor force survey said that unemployment here in the Eastern Cape was 45%. And at the expanded definition, it held that 53.2% of people in this province are unemployed. Now, when Comrade Oscar Mabuyane says that one of our districts is the poorest in the whole country here in the Eastern Cape, it is true. We continue to see the exodus of skilled people leaving the province, going to other provinces because there is poverty, because there is unemployment. Young people, women, and people in rural areas continue to have the most highest unemployment rates here in the Eastern Cape. However one defines unemployment, comrades, this situation is unacceptable. This means, too, that too many people continue to be economically excluded. Too many people cannot provide for themselves or their families, and too many people go to bed hungry. This province is endowed with many comparative advantages to a number of industries which must be leveraged to create more jobs and to lift people out of poverty. Greater advantage should be taken of the province's strengths in a number of sectors, in sectors such as tourism, agriculture, and agro-processing, that the Eastern Cape, by definition, by practice, should basket of the whole of South Africa. If you want beef, you should come here. If you want mutton, you should come here. Kaufuni Haku, this is where you should come. Upper Eastern Cape. This should be the home of all the food that the country produces, including maize. But it isn't so. And this is what we now need to change around. It is admittedly the automotive capital of the country, but of the entire continent. We make more cars here in the Eastern Cape than anywhere else on the African continent. And that in itself is a great endowment and a great capability. Now, the floods that we've just had have brought to bear the reality of climate change. And one says this because the impact that they have had in the eastern part of the Eastern Cape has been quite devastating, leading to the destruction of infrastructure and many other installations. These floods and other severe weather events such as drought experienced here in large measure show that parts of the Eastern Cape are more vulnerable to the impact of climate change. The province is duty-bound to dedicate greater resources to climate mitigation, and I've listened in the past and during even the political report presented here to Slalo, Oscar Mabuyane. He has immersed himself with great knowledge on climate change, but in doing all this mitigation, we should be looking for opportunities for greater job creation in mitigation programs and other parts of the green economy. The Eastern Cape government, together with national government, must also move with great. There are plans and programs in place to improve the province's road infrastructure, and these must be accelerated. I listened intently as the Premier, as chair, as the past convener and now chair of the province. Upromotiwe kaloku lo mntu lo. Bendimjonge apha ku-TV ejuluka. Wayejuluka ngoku he's not sweating anymore, ndiyabona. Wayesoyika ukuthi kuzenzeka ntoni na. Him, comrades, in him you have as a province a very, very committed advocate, advocating at a national level, at various other forums that we have, PICC and many others, that the infrastructure built in the province must be improved. And I agree with him, it must be improved, including, he never really stops talking about the roads in the province, and I have seen some of the roads, and that is going to be an area of focus for us so that we can improve the roads in the province. Yes, he's continuously also talking about a project where we had sod turning more than 10 years ago. The dam that is supposed to be built. the dam that I have also spoken about. He talks about it to me all the time. And I keep saying, dear, leli dam lizawakhiwa. It is going to happen. So, comrades, the focus as we move on, and I say this advisedly because you've got a new leadership, the leadership that is going to have to focus on the economic turnaround in the province with infrastructure built and ensuring that we come up with a number of ideas and plans to create jobs in our province here. Comrades, as soon as we put the proper legal framework in place for the commercialization of hemp and cannabis, lenzangu ekona eninzi apha e-Eastern Cape, we will be able. You know, you are a unique province. You can be the breadbasket of the country, and you can be the cannabis center of the whole country. Now, as soon as the legal framework, which is being worked on, is finalized, we expect that the Eastern Cape should be at the forefront of the industrialization of cannabis and hemp production here in the Eastern Cape. Now, conservative estimates hold that the country can create as many as 130,000 jobs in this area, and many people in the Eastern Cape can stand to benefit when we begin the industrialization. We must ensure that commercialization does not disadvantage the small and subsistence growers of cannabis, and government will put in place mechanisms to support and protect the small and subsistence growers as well. Effectively responding to the challenges facing the Eastern Cape and our country, in particular with regard to creating more jobs and fighting poverty, it requires a strong and united African National Congress that is committed to serving our people. Now, comrades, the tasks that we face require that the ANC in the Eastern Cape should be united and unite behind the leadership elected here. We must do so regardless of what our leadership preferences were. Now, with this decision that you have taken as the branches of the ANC, I would say, comrades, if we came to this conference divided, if we came to this conference being factions, if you like, if we came to this conference having different perspectives, all those differences must now melt away and disappear. The factions must now be collapsed. The groupings must now be collapsed. Ingasabikho lento ukuthi le group kaMabuyane, le group kaMatikizela. It must be a group ika African National Congress cha kwaphela. Now we must do it for good effect. Even for those comrades who have been elected, we expect that they are not going to be railroading other comrades out of positions. Ingabikho lento ukuthi abantu bazawukhutshwa kuma positions because abakhethwanga. It must be unity in action. It must be unity in action because this is how we are going to prove that indeed we are serious about unity and renewal. It is important, comrades. Dianiv, kwangathi anivumi lento. Deniva kakuhle. Kodwa my task, comrades, my task is to ensure ukuthi, yes, it is unity in action, but it must be principled unity, not unity for the sake of unity. It must be principled. We must be able to work with each other, promoting the values of the African National Congress, promoting integrity, and making sure that the African National Congress can regain the trust that our people used to have. Now, it is important that members of the ANC debate and discuss policy proposals. Now, because of the challenges that you had with credentials and all that, you were not able to devote as much time to discussing the political content of this conference and the policies. But there is hope on the horizon because you are going to have your PGC. And your PGC is going to give you sufficient time outside of leadership contests to debate the policies that should drive this organization going forward, in preparation for the policy conference and also in preparation for the national conference. So I expect that you will devote time, because the Eastern Cape, comrades, is known as the intellectual hub of the African National Congress. And we want you to live up to that. So, Slalo, we expect that you will devote enough time to discuss all those issues. The policies that we put forward must give hope to the people of our country that our movement is still the best agent of change. The people must be convinced that the ANC is their best agent to create a better life for all. I've been looking around and I have not seen a better agent to change the lives of our people. So at your discussions at the PGC, yes, do delve into policy discussions so that we can confirm that indeed the ANC is the better agent. Let us remind ourselves of the words of Comrade O.R. Tambo when he said, "It is only as a united force that we can move forward. It is as a united people that we shall be victorious." Your task now is to continue uniting, renewing, and rebuilding the African National Congress for a stronger province. It is important that we renew and rebuild our organization to equip the movement to better adapt and respond to the changing world and to the challenges that face us. At the same time, we must also renew our movement to deal with the negative tendencies and practices that have crept into our movement over time. The 54th conference, comrades, reminded us that we must demonstrate our commitment to renewal and fundamental transformation. It went on to say that we must shore up our capacity, honesty to identify and correct our weaknesses and revitalize our public image. The Nasrec conference explicitly said that we cannot just issue bland reassurances that are then negated by the very conduct of the leaders and members, as this worsens the decline of our movement. Ill discipline, factionalism, and other deviant tendencies continue to plague our movement. This movement must be principled and be more decisive in dealing with instances of ill discipline, the sowing of divisions, and other ills that bedevil organizational ethos and processes. Where anyone is found to have manipulated, for instance, organizational processes, or where votes have been bought, let us deal with these decisively. Where necessary, acts of criminality must be reported as well. Let us have a broader discussion about what qualifies an ANC member to be a leader of our movement. The time has come, comrades, for us to develop more explicit rules about the types of conduct that disqualifies a person from becoming a leader of this movement. Our leaders must be the most advanced cadres of our movement and be exemplary in their conduct, in their integrity, and in their commitment to our people's cause. The ANC, in the end, is far bigger than all of us. No one amongst us is bigger than the ANC. No one. Ungaba ngu-president, okanye ube ngu-chair we-province, or the chair of a branch. Let me tell you now, you are not bigger than the African National Congress. The African National Congress is far bigger than all of us. Now, the critical thing that everyone in the country is looking at, and let me tell you this, the whole country has had its eyes on your conference. Throughout the days that your conference has been going on, everyone who has been listening to radio, who has been watching television, has been having their eyes on this conference. And that is why I am so delighted that you were able to prove those who thought that you would have a chaotic conference wrong. Sibaphoxile. We showed them what you are worth. Now, what we should now do as a membership, we should also demonstrate to our people that, the view that they've had of the ANC, the view and the suspicions they've had of the ANC is completely different to what we are. We must demonstrate that we are the leader of society. We must demonstrate that we are, as the African National Congress, committed against corruption. We must demonstrate to them that we are an organization of great integrity, particularly here in the Eastern Cape, because you are a province of legends. The legends of our movement resided here. So, comrades, as we demonstrate and prove, we must at all times place the interests of this glorious movement before our own personal interests. We must be able to show all and sundry that we are putting the interests of our people ahead of our own personal interests. If we can do that, Unyanisile 2024 can come closer, and it can even happen now, because our people want an ANC that has integrity. Our people want an ANC that is going to serve the people of South Africa, because as they look around, they find that there is no other that can serve the people of our country like the African National Congress has served them. So, comrades, let us live up to that. Let us serve our people. Let us demonstrate to them that what we went through in 2017, when we went through that whole process, a cathartic process of looking at ourselves, that we are beyond that. We are renewing ourselves, we are uniting ourselves, we are becoming a better and more effective African National Congress. Today, this weekend, you have proven that yes, we can be that ANC. We can be that ANC where even as we come to conference with differences, we can be that ANC where even as we come with different leadership preferences, we can unite, elect a leadership, and we can adopt our credentials by consensus without getting our conference to be a chaotic conference. What you have done this weekend, comrades, I want to assure you, what you have done is quite phenomenal. You've done something that is quite historic. Yabona comrades, abantu abaninzi xa besijonga, they begin to dismiss us, but ANC is chaotic. What happened in 2017 is going to happen again, and nothing good will ever come out of that conference, and all that and all that. Let us continue proving them wrong. Let us show them that yes, we can run our organization effectively. Yes, we can run government effectively, that we can govern and serve our people. This is the ANC that our people want. Let us give that ANC to our people. And this weekend, you have shown us visions of that future. And I thank you, comrades, and congratulate you once again for having a very successful conference. Very, very successful conference. Diabule. Amandla. Amandla. Diabule.
Tiban Makaban. Tiban. Tiban Makaban. Kani afunu Tiban sage. And this only Tiban sangokwam. So sabalasa, so sabalasa, sabalasa, sabalasa. Comrades are tired. That's it. As they are ready. Are you ready?
You're ready. But we have so if that is Kulula when you're not there.
Chonga, yeah, power to tell the children now. This is Kulula.
It's not a bad man.
Holy for Mulu Sucha. Holy for Molo Socha.
Veterans have just been called. No, then I'll be the declaration. You're doing that now. Thank you.
Right, comrades, you can take seats. Mahlale ke sizabuyela kongokhela ngoza uhlabela ugqiba kaNgcuka Thobi. Because ndiyakuvuba ingathi akhona lamandla ndiwafunayo. Ndiyayiqonda wena enye ingxaki noba singayidelela hange silale. So abantu bacima wanamandla qha ayebheke ezantsi. Thank you very much, Comrade President, for the encouraging words. As I'm indicating, kangibalale badiniwe. But at least you've motivated us and you've given hope. We needed a very positive message and you gave it to us. Thank you very much, Comrade President. Comrades, we are now going to take the Provincial Secretary, Comrade Lulama Ngcuka Thobi, to read the declaration. Comrade Ngcuka Thobi will read the declaration.
Amandla, ngawe too. I will try to be as soft as possible. Comrades, ivoti kuthi iqalisile phaya. Nibona la manenekazi athe chuba ngaphambili mahle nje. Aya kulo mcimbi. Ningawaqhwabela ke la manenekazi. Niyanibona ningumuntu nice. Edeb, beningata madwana veterans. It veterans bengapha nashiyeka nina. Kuba ningiwa lapha eMonti. Sarah Batman. Yithani chu, niye pha nani kula mcimbi wala voti. Ningasingxoleli madoda. Enkosi. Mandenzele into bendithunyiwe ke. The process will be as quick as practicable as possible, comrades. Greetings to the President. I have already greeted other comrades. May I read your declaration, comrades? Okay. We, the 1,500 delegates, gathered at the African National Congress, Eastern Cape, 9th Provincial Conference, gathered at East London International Convention Center. We gathered under the theme, the Year of Unity and Renewal, to defend and advance South African gains. The ANC 9th Provincial Conference was attended by delegates drawn from more than 600 branches, representing more than 130,000 members in the province. The Provincial Task Team, the Veterans League, the ANC Youth League, the Women's League, the NEC, deployees, delegates from SICP, COSATU, and SANCO, and all the invited guests from various stakeholders. The 9th Provincial Conference plenary observed a moment of silence, paying tribute to the fallen members of the African National Congress and the entire Congress movement. The conference paid a special tribute to the Pepco Tree Sipho Ashe, Champion Galela, and Kakauli Godolozi, who on the 5th May 1985 were brutally murdered by the cruel apartheid regime. And in their memory, we recommitted that as long as the ANC lives, it will continue to relentlessly pursue their aspirations and the values they lived with. The ANC 9th Provincial Conference was addressed by the ANC National Chairperson, Comrade Gwede Mantashe, and received a closing address from the ANC President, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. Ndinilinde niphume abaphumayo. Mandinilinde bantakwethu. Sarah Batman kodwa ayikagqibi. Ningaphuma uphume oku xa nifuna uphuma ngani. Yeah. Masiqhubeke nabashiyekayo bantakwethu. Ndizawuthetha xa nithethayo because andifuni ukuyeka ukuthetha. The ANC 9th Provincial Conference was addressed by the ANC National Chairperson, Comrade Gwede Mantashe, who opened it, and received a closing address from the ANC President, President Cyril Ramaphosa. The conference also received messages of support from our allies, SANCO, COSATU, and SACP. The conference considered and adopted the political, organizational, and financial reports.
Comrades, please. Ayikho into ethethisayo xa uyovota. Uphakama esitulweni sakho, ubheke kula mnyango, ungathethi namntu. Kufundwa i-declaration ye-conference up. Please, can we be orderly and listen to this declaration? Nifane nomngenela kulaa ndlela ahleli ngayo azolileyo pha.
The conference considered and adopted the political, organizational, and financial reports of the Provincial Task Team. The PTT report served as a guide in the conference plenary discussions with thorough going assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of the organization in the Eastern Cape. The conference adopted the ANC National Executive Committee discussion paper on organizational renewal. The conference mandated the newly elected Provincial Executive Committee to develop a program of action and a program of taking the NEC discussion documents, papers on renewal to the lowest organs of the ANC, and committed the ANC PEC to hold a Provincial General Council to discuss both the content of the political work that we'll be undertaking and the program of action for the term that we are starting. And further, start discussions for the policy discussion as we prepare for the next National Policy Conference. The Provincial Conference affirmed that the strategic objective of the National Democratic Revolution is to build a non-racial, non-sexist, and united, democratic and prosperous South Africa. Achieving this strategic objective requires a thoroughgoing, radical economic transformation to build an inclusive economy that creates jobs, prosperity, and equity in our society. As such, the ANC and the entire mass democratic movement needs to take bold, revolutionary decisions to take the economy back to a higher growth and job-creating trajectory, using all the levers of the public and private sector and working in partnership with other critical economic players. The Provincial Conference confirmed that the ANC has long admitted that the need to renew and develop a different course of action, and therefore the need to renew is not something new, to an extent that the challenges confronting the ANC poses an existential crisis to the very same organization called the ANC. The ANC Provincial Conference commended the work done since the 8th Provincial Conference in uniting the ANC members in the province of the Eastern Cape. The ANC in the province will, within the year, convene regional workshops on the renewal of the ANC. The aim of these regional workshops shall be to take the program of renewal to lower organs of the ANC with speed. The ANC will take steps in ensuring functionality and better relations of the Revolutionary Alliance across all levels. As part of the renewing the ANC and the country, the step-aside rule will be implemented at all levels without any fear or favor. The Provincial Executive Committee should urgently develop a matrix for performance assessment of all elected leaders and public representatives. This is to ensure that there is accountability and mandate taking within the structures of government. The conference noted that the battle of ideas is one of the most contested terrains of the struggle and in key centers of power, and as such, felt that there is a need for alternative communication and media platforms. The conference noted the commendable progress with the implementation of the district development model, one budget, one plan. However, more effort must be championed by the Office of the Premier and the departments that are assigned to ensure that these plans are sustainable, spatially referenced, resourced, and truly integrative. Lifestyle audits in the public sector must be urgently implemented, and it must prioritize EXCO members, MPLs, municipal strikers, and mayoral committees, municipal managers, heads of departments, and other strategic deployed officials, such as CFOs and SCM practitioners. All the employees identified as trading with the state to be deregistered and further be subjected to disciplinary processes. As part of renewing the conference supports that all the members who are formally charged with corruption and other serious charges must immediately step aside from all leadership positions in the African National Congress. The conference noted the need to review the local government funding model and the amendment of the white paper on local government to ensure that there is greater funding directed to the municipalities. The equitable share needs to be reformulated with the municipalities as the major developmental wing of government, and as such should receive a greater share of the equitable share. The conference further noted the proposal to reduce the provinces in the number, which must be determined by taking into account the most appropriate modalities which will best serve the people of the country and our province in particular. The conference noted that the provincial economy is still reeling from the effects of the COVID-19 induced economic shutdowns. The agenda for economic transformation is facing challenges of multi-fronts given the challenging macroeconomic environment and the global geopolitics. Going forward, focus must be on the following economic transformation priorities: job creation and retention, youth development, COVID-19 economic growth and recovery, investment drive, enterprise development and support for cooperatives, building social compacts, support for catalytic and infrastructure projects. Further than that, there must be a concerted efforts on interventions to address water challenges across the province through water desalination program and put in place mitigation measures against the effects of climate change. Conference underlined the need to unlock the provincial potential on cannabis by ensuring that there is an effective budget allocation and expenditure on concrete industry projects and fast-track the implementation of the small town revitalization program. To put the provincial economy on a higher growth trajectory, the province must prioritize infrastructure investments, particularly on the eastern part of the province, and take advantage of the Eastern Cape energy potential by exploring the coastline oil deposits and gas and potential nuclear in Thailand. Further, as a way of supporting economic recovery, the IR and economic transformation subcommittees must foster closer working relations with the aim of building a framework for subnational economic diplomacy. International Relations Subcommittee to set up dedicated task teams looking into international 4IR adoption strategies for the province as a way of repositioning the economy of the province. On education, health, and social transformation, to reimagine education for the 21st century, key elements include, but not limited, as discussed by the plenary, value-based education that embraces new values in relation to the 21st century. Teacher development should shift towards the production of the 21st century teaching cadre, An education system that must prioritize skills that promote problem-solving skills, computer thinking, multidisciplinary skills, and systems thinking. Digital transformation of the entire education system is an enabler for transformation. The conference declares that all deserving learners must be provided with learner support material and scholar transport and all other critical support for every learner regardless of the race, class, and creed to realize their full potential. As part of ensuring that health becomes a driver of building the health profile of the citizens of the province, the conference resolved to improve access to public health information that empowers citizens and their communities for a healthy lifestyle, and enhance measures to service delivery improvement towards realization of accessible, affordable, and quality health care, facilitate a balance between the implementation of coronavirus health response and delivery of health services reduction of disease burden with focus on HIV, AIDS, STI, and tuberculosis programs, child mortality, maternal mortality, non-communicable diseases, and health promotion programs, including cancer awareness. On fighting GBV and femicide, the conference resolved for the ANC and East government to accelerate efforts towards victim empowerment, gender-based violence, and substance abuse, and work with strategic partners towards delivery of services aimed at combating GBV and femicide. The conference also noted the rising levels of homophobia and hate crimes, and as such, there is a need for the ANC to join and champion the struggle of the LGBTQI+ communities. The Provincial Conference, in conclusion, mandated the elected leadership to unite the ANC and the people of the province, and for the leadership to wholeheartedly serve the people of the province. The conference commended the discipline and maturity of the delegates in how they handled the political contestation. This was a sign of significant progress from the challenges that bestowed 2017 Provincial Conference. The conference is alive to the fact that the people of the Eastern Cape continue to be confronted with stubbornly high levels of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And their beacon of hope and vehicle for better life is still the African National Congress. Therefore, the conference committed the ANC to live up to the revolutionary task of serving the people. The conference declared that we are indeed on a journey of unity and renewal to defend and advance South African democratic gains. Thank you very much. I therefore present this declaration for the adoption by the plenary. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, Nopala. Can we have a mover for that?